And that was a cool piece there on KOTO, our local community radio station. We have the man, the myth, the legend here, Al Dean / Geoff Hanson. We don't know which one you are.
I'm Al Dean on the radio.
Okay.
And Geoff Hanson sitting right here.
You'll figure out. If you don't know what this means, first of all, you should if you live in Telluride. But if you don't live in Telluride, we're going to talk about it. So the first thing I want to ask you, Mr. Hanson, is how did you get here?
Well, the first time I ever heard of Telluride, I was told not to come here.
Okay.
And it was on Grateful Dead tour in 1987, and people were handing out flyers at every show saying, if you don't have a ticket, don't come to Telluride.
Okay.
I had never heard of this place. So I followed the directions. Even though I was at Red Rocks, I went home, and a friend of mine told me about it who went, and it just sounded like the coolest place I'd ever heard. And you can't Google in 1987, so I said the first thing I'm going to do when I get out of college is go to Telluride, and I did. And
That's
kind of ended up staying here.
I've never heard this story before. Jeff and I know each other for quite some time. I've never heard that story of like you almost having gone to the Dead show. So you went to the Red Rocks Dead show, but you didn't go to the...
I had been to a lot of shows that summer, and every show people were handing me something that said, don't go to Telluride. So I was 20. I was like, I'm not going to ruin the scene. You know?
That's such an old school Telluride thing. And then you and your brother were into film and into theater and into all that sort of stuff. Decided to make a movie which has become iconic both in the Telluride sphere of things, but then outside of it in terms of this ski town, the quintessential sort of ski town, like what would you call it, like ski town Animal House movie.
But it also takes place in the summertime.
Yeah.
So there really is no other ski town film that isn't about the winter. Yeah. And there's really hardly any skiing at all. And my brother and I holed up in Lander, Wyoming to write another script. 2 days into it, we were beating each other up trying to figure out what happened. And I said, a friend of mine's written a story called The Story of Spam about a bunch of guys in Telluride raising a pig over the course of the summer. What would you think about writing that? And boom, we called Sean McNamara, the local writer, and we got the script, and we were off and running.
That's right. And that movie is called Scrapple. Where can you find that movie?
Well, Amazon Prime. You can watch it on Prime. And there's a version on the internet, and it's a pretty good looking version of it.
So YouTube version or something?
Yeah, it looks good. So if it looked bad, we would have tried to take it down. We're kind of over, thinking we're going to make any money on it. So we just want people to see it.
Yeah, and now people have seen it. A lot of people. We've shown it many times here in Telluride. I might have interviewed you the most out of anybody at all these venues. It was shown once to Open Mountain Film. Is that right?
Well, it's played in Mountain Film 3 times.
Three
98, times, 08, and 18, sort of every 10 years.
And 18 was the
20th,
the 20-year anniversary of it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the movie itself, because it's Al Dean, right, which is you. You're playing Al Dean. And then it's a cast which you cobbled together from various places, including from L.A., right? Is that right?
Yeah, we had we did readings in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, and we actually cast somebody from each place, and they're all very good.
They are, yeah.
The actors we got from those casting sessions were great. We were looking for Al Dean for myself, and we just never found anybody who my brother, the director, felt could do it better than me. I did not plan to be in the movie, but I would always read the other part, and my brother's like, well, he's awfully, he's good at Al Dean, so I became kind of the main character.
Yeah, and then, so I hesitate because we could go on, we literally go like a 30-minute thing on...
Well, you show it, right?
Because yes, we will. But yes, we're going to show Scrapple, but Scrapple's great. If you haven't seen it here in Telluride, you absolutely need to see it. I just want to say, looking back now at the movie, as it's become this weird cult classic kind of a thing.
Okay.
When you look at it, do you look at it as a preservational thing about Telluride at that time? Because you guys are looking to buy a house in the movie, and it's from drug money.
Yeah. Well, and
it's about a time that's earlier in Telluride. So it was made in '98, but it's really kind of about like the late '70s.
Yeah,
right?
it takes place in 1978. I mean, that was sort of where it was, and a big part of it is that idea of there was a time in Telluride and other ski towns where people were selling cocaine and buying real estate. And there's a line in the Don Henley song, Smuggler's Blues, Hide It Up in Telluride. This was a real thing. So we thought that was a really interesting part of the history of Telluride that had never, or any ski town that no one had ever told. And so we tried to wrap a story around that and these guys raising a pig over the course of a summer.
It's a fantastic movie. Like when I say it's the Animal House of ski movies, it really is in a lot of ways, and it's really great. It's got a tremendous amount of heart. You should absolutely watch it. If you live here, it's required.
Yeah, well, Taj Mahal, who did the music, calls it the Dazed and Confused
Yes.
of ski towns, and Men's Journal magazine called it the Ski Bum's Easy Rider, which we love.
Yeah, the Ski Bum's
we love that.
That's right. It's a little bit dated. Maybe not everybody's seen Easy Rider, although an incredibly classic movie, but that is actually a little bit more accurate, I would say. And I can't ask you this question.
Sure.
You're going to have to ask Geoff on the street or go to KOTO, because he's the director over at KOTO, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But he just mentioned something, which is that Taj Mahal, that's right, the Taj Mahal, did the music for the movie. So that's a pretty incredible thing. Ask Geoff about that on the street. See Scrapple. And now you're living sort of the grown-up Scrapple life here. You came back to Telluride, and you're directing KOTO, which is this beautiful public radio station in the middle of the mountains here.
Well, I would say it's probably the institution that most represents the time that Scrapple takes place in.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
We were founded in 1975. And Telluride, I mean, KOTO's kind of holding it down for Telluride. That's kind of the way I look at it. That we're just keeping it real and making sure that Telluride remembers where we came from, and it's great radio.
I think that's right. I think, especially considering, like, explain a little bit, for those of you who don't know, explain a little bit about KOTO and how things get programmed and those kind of things.
Well, it's one of only a few, and I mean a few, radio stations in the country that is completely commercial-free, non-underwritten.
Yes.
And that's really the NFCB, Federation of Community Broadcasters, can't really find more than 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And what that means is we can play whatever we want, and we never have to say this song was brought to you by X store, and we survive almost entirely on the support of our listeners and our donors, and it's an incredible accomplishment. And from a DJ standpoint, it's amazing because we can go out and play whatever we want, and it's really, put it this way, there's 350 million people in the country. There's only about 150 that get to do what we do.
That's right. That's right. That's 100% true.
So that's pretty cool from being a DJ.
Yeah, and you're holding it down. The DJs are great over there. And again, you can catch KOTO. You now go online and stream KOTO. I have it on my phone. Sometimes I'm in another place, and I'll just pop it up, and you could stream it on all these different services.
Which is really popular during the festivals.
Yep.
We're drawing 1,000, 30, big numbers on the festival. So we stream bluegrass, we stream the rye, we stream blues and brews. So that's a really great time to listen to KOTO. I mean, we had Robert Plant.
That's right.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
That's right. So, so my last thing would be, there's a thing coming up for KOTO, and again, which is another thing that you have to do if you're from Telluride, which is KOTO Lip Sync.
It's one of, I would say, one of the most iconic local events in Telluride, and it's a total blast. And we have kind of a running joke that nobody knows when it started, so every year we put a different year in the poster. It was like 38th, and but it's super cool, and it happens on Friday, January 25th at the Opera House. And it's one of those things, you gotta go to it. If you haven't seen it, you really need to check it out. It's super cool.
Yeah. Hey, man. Thanks for joining me. You guys can catch Geoff Hanson if you want to be part of KOTO Lip Sync. Just, you can call KOTO or get in touch with Geoff.
Geoff at KOTO.org.
Geoff, guys.
Geoff.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, KOTO is a true community organization, and that brings me to Telluride TV, which is a